So your first place Chicago Bears, they quietly hinted at a huge move. And I'm going to share a post from Jaquan Brisker's X account. It's the best news I've heard in a while, and I think this is going to make you smile. Check this out. This is about Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker playing on the same field as Jalen Johnson. I'm just going to read it. Since Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker were drafted a pair of Jalen Johnson in 2022, they played just 31 out of 62 possible games together. But when they're on the field together, absolutely locked down. In 23, that's 15 games together, the Bears were the top 10 in the NFL, allowing just 195.1 passing yards per game. That was such a good year in the secondary. And then here's a question. Do we see the full trio versus the Eagles? This is what's going to make you smile. Brisker's always the best. His addition to this post is just simply sips tea. Guys, he's breaking news, and in this video, I'm going to break this down. Also, an update on what the linebacker position is going to look like, but let's start with this. Look, I think we're going to have a full complement of secondary players on Friday. Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, all indications are they're going to be back from injury, and it's actually better than what this is showing because let's remember there's now additions. We've got Nashawn Wright. He leads the leagues in interceptions. C.J. Gardner-Johnson still has all the receipts he kept during this time. None of the teams wanted to bring him on. He was just sitting there in free agency. The Bears grabbed him. Still has that huge chip on his shoulder. And now my question's going to kind of change. Like, from how are we going to cover Philadelphia, how we're going to cover these Philly receivers in the secondary to exactly how good is this secondary going to be? How is the coaching staff going to use all of these pieces because now there's a surplus? And these are very good questions to answer. I think the answer very well might be this actually might help at linebacker in a huge way because we're looking at TJ Edwards. He's still likely going to be out with the hand and I believe the hamstring. And now Johnson's back. Now Gordon's back. They're back to cover again. So now we have CJ possibly, can he play back at strong safety with Byard? And then can Brisker come down and help at linebacker? Because remember, Edmonds, he's on IR as well. Help is needed, right? So if Brisker knows how to play with physicality, we know that he does, almost to the point that it's to his detriment. Why not have him help out at linebacker? Then we've got Nashawn still. He can help cover. And these three guys, they're going to be absolutely elite, especially with the Tyreek Stevenson injury. This came at just the perfect time. So that kind of brings me to the Week 13 injury report. And this is as of Wednesday's practice estimate today. We've got Tyreek Stevenson. He's still listed as a non-participant on the estimated injury reports this week. And this is after he aggravated the hip injury that he struggled with for a few weeks. That was during the Steelers game. He's likely going to need to practice in some capacity by tomorrow to have a chance to play on Friday. So he might very well be out. Let's go through some of the other notable injuries just so we have all the facts here. Excuse me. You've got linebacker TJ Edwards, did not participate. That's due to the hand and hamstring. I expect him to be out for this game. Noah Sewell, he's not practicing yet due to an elbow injury. Well, more word on him. See if he practices tomorrow. DeAndre Swift, he didn't practice with his groin injury. This is likely management because that's kind of how it's gone early in the week in practice. I would expect him to play in this game. Dominique Robinson, unfortunately, didn't practice. He's still in the concussion protocol. Scratch him for the Philly game. But here's the good news. We got cornerback Jalen Johnson. He was a full participant, totally trending toward a return from injured reserve. And then we've got Spider-Man. He has been a full participant as well, and he's trending towards a return from injured reserve. Guys, this is such good news. And with these returns, kind of another question to answer as well is now we've got Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, Is it possible that Tyreek Stevenson is the odd man out here? Is it possible that moving forward, Tyreek Stevenson is no longer a starting corner for the Chicago Bears? That's a really good question, right? And our head coach, Ben Johnson, defensive coordinator, Dennis Allen, they did provide some discussion during this week about the team's defensive back rotation. Once again, Johnson and Gordon back. I can't say that enough times. So good. And they're listed as full participants, and we are getting a two-time Pro Bowler back in Jalen Johnson, and he's only played one game, that Week 2 loss to the Detroit Lions, and we've only had Gordon for 2 games, and not since Week 7. Guys, this is so huge. Big problems to have, but really good problems to have. What do we do with this surplus of talent? Now, the reason that we're having this discussion, right, that's because we've got 2 starting corners sidelined during this time, and Nahshon Wright has absolutely taken advantage of this. He has balled out. He's leading the NFL in picks. I think he's breaking out. We are witnessing a 6'5" corner really coming into his own, has the perfect coaching staff around him. Al Harris is the perfect coach for him. He brought him over from Dallas, and also after spending some time on Minnesota's practice squad, they've got him dialed in. And also, is Tyreek Stevenson, is he disposable at this point? Because Tyreek Stevenson, at one point this year, he was playing at a Pro Bowl level. Let's hear from the head coach, and this is per the Chicago Tribune, Sean Hammond. I think he has certainly earned playtime. We're talking about Nahshon. And defensive coordinator Dennis Allen, he said that everybody's going to have a role. They're talking a full-on rotation. I mean, I think this is a good idea, but I don't think this is possible. They've got to make decisions on who they're going to feature. They can still rotate in. That's a great strategy. But I think we're going to definitely see some of this cornerback surplus talent shift over to linebacker to help out. And talk about we might lose some size, but imagine the coverage ability. Imagine Philly trying to pass on the Chicago Bears defense when we're subbing in corners at linebacker. The sideline-to-sideline speed, I think is pretty legit. I would love to see it. And I think defensive coordinator Dennis Allen, he's exactly the type to employ something like this. We're looking at... Allen's going to have to decide who plays against 11 personnel. He's going to have to decide who plays on sets with 3 wide receivers. And Johnson is going to slide right back into this number 1 corner role. And Gordon, you've got to put him in its slot. I think Brisker coming down is a hugely great idea. And yeah, so let's kind of look at how these 2 players have actually performed. And this is per PFF. Let's compare Stevenson and Nahshon Wright. So Stevenson, he's allowed 34 receptions for 558 yards. That's 16.4 yards per catch and 1 touchdown. That's on 307 coverage snaps. You don't have to take notes. I'm going to give you a good look on this. He actually allows per reception the yards that he allows, it's actually the most among cornerbacks who played at least 10 games this season. So he has allowed a lot of yardage. Now let's look at Wright. He's played, how many snaps has he played? I do not have it here. Pretty similar. He's allowed 35 receptions on 59 targets for 446 yards. So he's allowed roughly 100 yards less, 6 touchdowns. He's definitely been burned more often, but he has those 5 interceptions. He's also giving up 4 yards less per catch at 12.7, and his coverage grade compared to Stevenson's is noticeably much better, 61.5 versus 54.3. So it's like basically Tyreek Stevenson has been burned for touchdowns less often. He's only given up 1 touchdown to Wright's 6. Wright has gotten those 5 interceptions, which is absolutely huge. Stevenson's allowed about 100 yards more. It's kind of like pick your poison. Once you see the numbers like this, maybe a rotation is the proper thing to do as far as situationally. But let's not put Stevenson out on an island. He's more of a press corner. I don't know. It's really difficult to see what we should do. I'm excited to see. Excuse me. But Thanks for being here, you guys. We are still growing this channel. Let's hit it up to 10,000 subscribers. Continue to hit the subscribe button if you are into this. And I'm into being here on the daily, giving you Chicago Bears news. Bear down. Let's beat Philly.